International affairs analyst Paul Ejime joins me on the news from the UK via Zoom. Good to have you join us, Paul Ejime.
Thank you for having me.
Let's get your reaction to this latest development in South Africa, the riots we've seen in the past days, which is kind of it's the worst in a period of time.
So yes, and but also remember that South Africa is not a stranger to this type of violence and rioting. What is happening is that when there is a tipping point, when it boils over, then you have there has to be an explosion. You have to let out that steam. Remember the xenophobic riots and all that. But at the bottom of this, you may say, well, that Zuma's sentencing is just the trigger, but it's a symptom of what is happening in South Africa. There is hunger and anger. You know, there is crime rate that is high, there is poverty. Millions of South Africans after independence in 1994 are still living below poverty line. The so-called black empowerment or emancipation hasn't really worked. Not under Ramaphosa, not under Zuma, not under Becky and so on. Mandela was trying to begin something before. And then that is again leadership. He said, okay, stepped aside for younger people to take over after 27 years in prison. And but since then, it's been Becky was chased out by Zuma, and now he too was forced to resign in 2018. He hasn't really been a leader. What you can call.
And I want to stay on the issue of leadership. Sorry to interrupt you, but you raised a key point here. And just as you talk about leadership, President Cyril Ramaphosa has come under criticism for how he has handled these riots and protests. Could he have been more proactive, seeing that these protests were largely, or these riots were largely predicted after the sentencing of Jacob Zuma?
No, I think he touched a raw nerve when he was linking the thing to trying to talk about ethnic or tribal issue. No doubt, KwaZulu-Natal is where the home place province is the home place of Zuma, and then that is his support base. But the problem cuts across. You see that Gauteng is also there, where you have Johannesburg, Soweto, and all that. So it cuts across. You can't limit it. What is happening is that politicians at times they want to put a handle. They want to shift blame or from themselves. They blame every other person other than themselves. It is not tribal. It is not ethnic. It is just that the dividend of democracy is not, getting down to South Africans, and that is the truth. Otherwise, why would they be going to loot shops? One of them said, "Listen, that they are poor, that they haven't eaten for some days." I mean, this is an opportunity for them. I mean, you cannot justify that, but that tells you what is at the root cause of all this. It is poverty. It is economic problem.
And talking about the root cause, we've seen that the ANC has released a statement saying it's looking into the tweet by the daughter of Jacob Zuma. But when you look at the statement by the Economic Freedom Fighters, that's the EFF, they believe that political engagement, political intervention and engagement is the key here. So what role can the ANC play, seeing that it is seen as the party of the people?
Well, they have done that before. When Zuma was becoming recalcitrant, they forced him to resign. Listen, the case now is that somebody is alleged to have committed a crime. And then he's taken to court. He's been stalling it, postponing, this day in court. And this is what has happened. If he had gone quietly, he appeared only once. Remember, this is only for the contempt that he has done. The main suit has not been discussed, and there are several. So all this is this cannot save him. This cannot save Zuma. He has fallen from being a freedom fighter or, anti-apartheid hero to becoming, a nuisance now, and then causing problems. People are now only latching on the fact that he's in jail to begin to cause trouble. But it goes beyond that. Yes, I agree. Engagement, and then they have to find solution. But the point was that the
I'm sorry, we have to leave it there. I have run out of time. There's just so much to talk about this, especially when you look at the history of South Africa. But we hope that the measures put in place by President Ramaphosa can quell these riots. Thank you so much for talking to us, as always, International Affairs Analyst Paul Ejime.
Thank you for having me.